Can I ask you something?
Certainly.
Who gives a fuck what you think? This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch. I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
Okay, so, Trevor, you know that I am a big fan of Blumhouse and James Wan.
Yeah.
Okay? So, they merged. So, Blumhouse has merged with, Blumhouse Films has merged with James Wan's company, Atomic Monster.
Yes.
So, they finally produced their first film together, kind of, sort of, I guess. And it stars Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell's kid.
Yep.
It's got Kerry Condon, who's up and coming, good Irish actress. And I can't beat this. This has got to be good, right? It's about a killer swimming pool.
Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, it's called Night Swim.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's a fucking killer pool. This is gonna be fucking stupid, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna watch this and save it for the podcast.
When's it out?
It's out now.
Right.
You can rent it and all, whatever. No, Trevor, you don't understand. This is the worst piece of shit I have ever seen in my entire life.
Really? Oh, dear.
It is horrendous. I am in awe, those actors I mentioned and the producers I mentioned would have greenlit this piece of shit.
Who directs it?
Night Swim, guys, you got some idea about a killer pool. And you figured, oh, yeah, okay, I'll run with it. What do you got? And there's nothing to this film.
Yeah, I'll give it a miss.
It is horrendous. I don't know where to go. I mean, what a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I won't even give it podcast breath.
Yeah.
Well, I am kind of now, but
not in a positive way.
Fuck me.
And is it? I mean, I'm down to know. Is it about a killer pool?
Yeah, it's about a family moves into this house and they get the place real cheap.
Yes.
A child was kidnapped by the pool a couple of years before.
Right. So,
the
people. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, the child disappeared, but we know the pool took the child.
Right.
So the pool is some kind of ancient burial. I don't know what. I can't remember. I blacked out.
Yeah.
Like the director and the writers did.
Mm-hmm.
And Wyatt Russell plays a baseball player, big leaguer, who's injured. But anytime he goes and he's limping, he's trying to get his arm back. But when he's in the pool, it rejuvenates him.
Right.
So he doesn't need the crutch anymore all of a sudden. He's
the magic pool as well?
Yeah. For him, it's feeding him.
Okay.
But for others, it's trying to harm, like the children.
Yeah.
So anytime the children go in alone, something happens to them. Now, the way I'm making it sound makes it sound kind of, well, this sounds pretty good. It's not. It's like a family drama.
Is it played for laughs? Is it PG-13?
No. It's completely straight. It is the most boring, laughable film I have ever... I mean...
What certificate does it have?
Oh, it's PG-13.
No, yeah, definitely giving it a miss.
It's... Oh, boy, it's bad. This is their first outing with their merge, and... Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe we'll do it and you can watch it, and you probably go, "Oh my God, it's incredible!" What a piece of shit.
Okay.
But go turn to a more positive note here. It's retrospective again time. We just wrapped up the Back to the Futures. We teased you with a little Nico from Above the Law.
Bit of Steven Seagal.
You're welcome. Just take a break from the retrospectives, but we're diving right back into it. As we promised you for quite a while now, we're here to talk the entire Nightmare on Elm Street collection. Now, as we mentioned, we probably won't do Freddy vs. Jason because we talked about that with the Friday the 13th retrospective. But we decided that we're going to go ahead and dabble in some of the TV episodes that aired. Yes, there was a Nightmare on Elm Street TV show.
Not only that, there was also a Nightmare on Elm Street rap song with the Fat Boys and Robert Englund. Are you ready for Freddy?
Oh, Jesus.
Also, Will Smith, back when he was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he did a Nightmare on Elm Street rap song.
Nightmare on My Street, it was called.
With Jazzy Jeff, I think.
It was actually just Jazzy Jeff at first.
Right.
Fresh Prince didn't come in until... He was in it, but it was DJ Jazzy Jeff's gig.
Right.
Fresh Prince popularized it.
I always liked Jazzy Jeff anyway.
Yeah, I don't like Will Smith.
I'm not a fan of Will Smith. I actually prefer Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, he seems pretty grounded.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of slasher, as we all know. And the one thing I can always appreciate about... I wasn't a Nightmare on Elm Street fan. Never really was. But the one thing I can appreciate about Nightmare on Elm Street was that it took a beaten down subgenre of the slasher and did something different. And they did hit out of the park with Nightmare on Elm Street. As you know, I did talk about Nightmare on Elm Street with one of our podcasts a couple of years ago. But we're just going to do a refresher relook just for continuity's sake.
Yeah, I wasn't on that podcast, so maybe that'll be a new sort of... We can argue instead of you and Nuala arguing, you know?
Yeah. Actually, I think we all agree with it. There's a couple things that are really bad in this film. But, guys, keep in mind, I know there's a lot of purists when it comes to Freddy Krueger. I am going to have poke fun at it. I'm going to have a good laugh, but it doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. I will say this. My Friday 13th gets a bum rap from the bad acting. Ooh, Friday 13th is fucking Shakespeare in the Park compared to some of the acting that goes on in this film.
In this first film?
Oh, God, yeah.
I don't think the acting's that bad. I mean, it's not... I mean, you're not talking Oscar-winning material.
It's terrible.
But it's possible.
It's almost ruins it.
I disagree, but anyway, we'll get to it.
All right, so let's just dive right into it. Yeah, we're not going to... We've talked about West quite a few times. We get the man between, creative Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes. Those were his big outings, and then things fell flat for him. He wasn't doing very well. Swamp Thing was a bomb, but that was producers and him having words. And he just really never found his footing in the 80s. He was forced to do Hills of Eyes 2, which was a train wreck. I thought it was all right, but it was missing that grindhouse appeal that made the first one so edgy and dark.
He also did a film around the same time as A Nightmare on Elm Street. It was a made-for-TV movie. I may have spoken about it on previous podcasts, called Invitation to Hell, about basically this fitness club who were really a cult, and they had this portal to hell. It's actually, I remember, I wouldn't mind revisiting it, actually.
It's terrible.
But I remember...
So I think Susan Lucci's in it.
Yeah.
Who's like a daytime soap opera star.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it has that made-for-TV appeal. But I remember it freaking me out as a kid, but I would have to revisit it.
I did a film about killer Amish people and Deadly Blessing. Mm-hmm. Sharon Stone, I think, one of her first films. I could be wrong. Anyways, he wasn't doing it. He wasn't finding his footing. His good friend Robert Shea, same thing. I have a lot of respect for Robert Shea. He founded a New Line Cinema back in '68, I believe it was, and he kept it going as long as he could. And he was about to close the doors when a little treatment story idea came from Wes about the man in your dreams, and Nightmare on Elm Street was born. New Line Cinema is famous as being called the house that Freddy built, and that is true. That is a fact. It is now an Academy Award-winning production company, giving us the Lord of the Ring franchise. I love the story of New Line Cinema. Like I just mentioned, Robert Shea I have a lot of respect for.
No good on them.
And taking, little engine I could here. Story, and same thing happens with Lionsgate, and the same things happen with another company called A24.
Yeah. So
good on these small production companies. And the great thing about New Line, the great thing about Lionsgate, and, A24 is still, a verdict still out there. But I'll tell you what, the one thing about Lionsgate and the New Line does, they always go back to horror, and they do more horrors than they do blockbusters.
They stick to their roots.
And the money's when those horror movies make money, they'll go make a couple big blockbusters. And that's the way I think it should be done.
Yeah.
It was originally David Warner in the costume. He was masked, ready to go, until, unfortunately, production got halted, just for whatever reason. As usual, it does happen. He had to walk away from production.
I'm going to say something that could be complete sacrilege to the Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street fans, and I'm a big fan of Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, but I think, there is a chance that David Warner could have been even better and creepier. But he does creepy and weird well, or he did. He's dead now, sadly.
Yeah, we'll jump into why I actually, I can't believe I'm saying this, agree with you on this. Now, there's a scene, and we'll talk about. Here's the problem. I think Robert Englund's too tiny.
Yeah.
And you need a taller presence. There's a rumor Kevin Bacon's going to be taken over, which would be perfect casting.
Apparently, Kane Hodder auditioned for it as well.
Oh, no, thanks. But tall and lanky works for me when I think Freddy. Again, Robert Englund, it's your character. You brought life to it. Kudos. But we always talk about Indiana Jones, or talk about Han Solo, or talk about whatever.
Yes.
But we can never see somebody replacing those actors.
Yeah.
No one else can play Indiana Jones. No one. No one else is ever going to play Han Solo. Well, they try to. But I think you get my point.
Yes.
I can see somebody else playing Freddy Krueger.
Oh, yeah. Well, people have. I mean, in the remake. And, it's one of those roles where there's so much makeup involved, you can get away with it more than, say, a character like Indiana Jones or Han Solo.
Yeah, and that's probably true, but I don't know. I don't know.
His height, or his lack of height, essentially, is noticeable in some scenes where there's a lack of intimidating threat there, like especially in a couple of the scenes with Tina.
Well, let's just jump into the film, and then we can kind of dissect it back that way. Now, we all know that Nightmare on Elm Street came from a story from the LA Times that Robert Englund read about men that were dying from their nightmares. And they found all these sleeping pills around these individuals. Not sleeping pills, sorry. Found, what do you call it? No-dos or whatever.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't fall asleep. And that's where he kind of got the idea.
Yeah, like amphetamines, yeah.
Elm Street it's very Americana.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's like First Avenue. It's a very common name in the street. It's also a very famous street where Kennedy was shot. Mm-hmm. That's kind of creepy. But that's kind of where he got it. He got the name Freddy from a local bully.
That's right.
In his neighborhood. And he got the idea of the look of him from one morning when he got up from his house and he looked outside the window and he saw this creepy old man wearing like a fedora, be a homeless guy, whatever, wearing a fedora, and he just stared up at Wes, and he said he never got that image out of his head. So that's kind of where Freddy was born, kind of a mosh pit of different experiences or articles he's written. So let's dive into Nightmare on Elm Street. Let's talk about Freddy. 1984, 1.8 million budget, 25 million in profit. That's pretty solid for a little film. Back then, I don't think people realize. Right now, people listen and say, well, that's not that much. That's a lot of money for back then.
Well, compared to, if you work it out in percentages of what it cost,
Yeah, inflation, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Trust me, it's a gold mine. And the other ones are just going to make just as much, especially number 3 when we get to it.
Well, they made more. I believe the sequels made even possibly more as the series went on.
When they made the first one, and I know Wes Craven did not want to make sequels, that's a fact. They did not want to become another Friday 13th. They planned just a one film. Let's just jump in. Okay, we've got Nancy, Freddy, Sheriff, Tina, Glenn, Marge, the drunk, and Rod Lane.
Yeah.
Those are pretty much the key characters.
Johnny Depp's first acting role as Glenn.
Johnny Depp's, he's introduced as he's introducing as Johnny Depp there. And watching this again, it has a lot of similarities to Wes Craven's Scream.
Oh yeah,
especially the friendships, especially with Tina, Nancy, and Glenn. And he put Rod in there as well.
Rod, what age is Rod? About 40?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be 16.
It's funny. Tina, I guess that's a good point, because of all of them, he looks very old. The other 3 look pretty fair to their age.
Well, Tina is playing a 15-year-old, the actress is playing Tina's supposed to be 15. Yep.
Wow, we'll talk about that one scene. Okay, so the movie does a psycho. All right, so we're introduced to Tina here, which I do like. I do like the fact we're invested in Tina, and you don't realize she's the first one to get it.
She's about to be bumped off. I think that, of course, Craven would revisit with Scream, the original film.
Yep. Like I said, this does have a lot of, well, vice versa actually. Scream certainly borrows from itself, but the creator is the creator. Well, Kevin Williamson, I guess you could say, borrowed from this, and then Wes said, "Yeah, sounds good." Mm-hmm. The whole dynamic between, again, it's really fast paced. About less than 15 minutes, you're introduced to all these people, and I do like them. Heather Langenkamp is saved by the other three. Her acting's appalling.
I don't know. I mean, I think Heather's acting itself, in and of itself, isn't actually, it's possible, but the character is quite annoying. And the character's sort of, I suppose it is her acting, the mannerisms. I think her acting is sound, but definitely the character is pretty annoying.
I'll tell you what, we'll dive more into her acting. Now, guys, when I'm tearing her apart, I'm going to make some jokes here and all, but I do like her as a human being. I think she's got a good head on her shoulders, and I do think when part 3 comes around, she's clearly matured. So this is not a permanent, but I'm sorry, it's terrible.
I wouldn't say terrible. I think that's
it's terrible.
Harsh.
It is. I mean, I'm going to tell you scenes. And you're going to sit there and probably go, "Oh my God, she was brilliant." Because you always do that. You always, everything's brilliant.
No.
All right. So, so they all go to Tina's house, right?
Yes.
Oh, I love when Tina's having her first nightmare, right?
Mm-hmm. I did. Yeah.
And it's a clever way to show Tina's kind of alone.
Yeah.
Because she wakes up screaming, and her fucking drunken mom comes in with her drunken whore man.
Yeah.
And Tina's got this tear, the Freddy's tear.
Yes, that's
in
right.
her nightgown.
Boy's cutter. Yeah. So you have to get your fingernails clipped.
Well, she goes, either get your fingernails clipped or stop dreaming what you're dreaming.
Yeah.
You pick one over the other. Like, Jesus. Real comforting, mother.
Yeah.
And that whole thing was like 20 seconds.
Yep.
But it was a nice way to quickly introduce the fact that this poor girl is by herself.
Yeah.
And it explains why she is kind of a recluse and why she is kind of a party girl, I guess.
Yeah. Well, she's having sex and all the rest. Now,
let's talk about the sex scene. There isn't one, I mean, obviously. But now, I know they interviewed some of the actors, and they said, yeah, it was bad. The moaning and groaning that was going on. What the fuck? I thought there was two bears beating the shit out of each other.
It's over the top.
It's really... I couldn't stop laughing. It takes you out of it. Especially during...
I think it's funny. What actually made me laugh, where you can see Glenn, played by Johnny Depp, being frustrated because he's getting none. You know what I mean? Because Nancy's a good girl. She doesn't do that sort of thing. So I sort of laughed at that, his frustrated face, but, it's a bit, I don't think it's that bad, but it is.
I mean, you always do that.
What?
It's bad, okay? The actors have added to it. You always find the silver lining. It's horrible. It's laughable. In the scene we're about to get, lucky it doesn't ruin it, because it's the best death in all the Nightmare on Elm Streets.
Yeah.
But it's like,
it sounds like he's beating her up. It sounds like Freddy's got her early.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what it was. Like, what the fuck?
It's silly, but it didn't take me out of the film. Because I knew what was I suppose because I knew what was coming up. The brutal sort of murder scene.
Yeah, luckily the scene's pretty brutal, because if it wasn't, it would have really taken people out. I mean, I know I'm having a good laugh at it, but wow, it's bad.
I think, I think, luckily enough for it, it is definitely, people forget about it, or at least they don't forget about it, but they put it to the back of their minds once Tina's murder happens.
One of my favorite shots in the film is right before Tina's going to get it. Nancy's sleeping.
Yes.
And then you see Freddy coming through the wall, trying to pierce through the wall.
Yes.
and then she's starting to just wake up a bit there, and then they see that go back in. That is such a creepy shot.
And also, it also makes a lot of sense in the terms of the continuity, because it means that Freddy's, I'll leave Nancy alone for now. I'll go back to Tina, and he does.
Yeah, it's also going to be a little foreshadowing to where you're next.
Yeah.
It's a nice intro to what we're about to get. Mm-hmm. When Tina gets slaughtered, it is a tough watch, especially if you realize she's playing a 15-year-old.
Yeah. It's really violent and really shocking, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm certain I've seen a lot of horror over my life, and but it still holds a very strong part of this day. And the way she gets thrown about the room, the ceiling and stuff, it's like, whoa, what the hell? It's brutal, but it is very powerful, and it is a brilliant horror scene.
And Rod's there, sitting there, nothing he can do. Mm-hmm. And when the minute he guts her, and she finally plops on the bed, she's like screaming in pain. She's screaming, and then once he guts, you can hear her final gasp.
Yeah.
Amanda Weiss, who plays her, does a really nice job when you can hear her being gutted.
Yes.
In the final stabbing, and and this happens pretty quickly within the film.
Oh, why?
So not only do you pull the rug from underneath us, Janet Leigh style, you give us this horrific death, just like you did with Janet Leigh, technically. So the audience is like, "Fuck, what's up? What's going to happen?"
All bets
next?
are off.
Yeah, and that's where Nightmare on Elm Street shines. Balls to the wall, all bets are off, no one is safe. And that's what works about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, I would go back to Scream as well, which of course came on over 10 years later. While Scream overall is still brilliant, the opening section with Drew Barrymore, everything that comes after it is not quite as good. Still great in its own way, but it's hard to follow such a strong opening in both A Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream.
Well, all films are always going to have a scene that's going to be the most dominating one, whether it's in the middle, like Brian De Palma is famous for that. He'll have 3 scenes in his film that will steal the film.
Yeah.
One of them was always going to be better than the other, but I hear what you're saying. Wes has a way of drawing you in. He does the same thing with Serpent in the Rainbow. I believe he does it with Shocker. He does it with People Under the Stairs. He has a way of sucking you in the first 20 minutes or so. Here's your characters. Boom, I'm going to throw something at you. Now you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his craft. That's the way he was. But it's too bad we're not going to see any more of Wes.
Yep, sadly not.
Yeah. Now, during the dream sequence with Tina, this is what I was talking about. And again, guys, I like Robert Englund. So, this is, I do. I really do enjoy his stuff. I think he's great as Freddy. But there's a scene where, his arms are extended, which I thought was kind of fun, like a marionette.
Yeah.
When Tina's dreaming before she dies. But then she starts running away from him, and he looks like a little child.
I know. That's one of the scenes I was talking about, where his lack of height is noticeable.
It's really, I'll be like, oh, so you got the blades. Okay, I'll get a bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of takes me out a little bit. But what does save Freddy is the performance by Robert Englund. The way his one-liners, the way he's told to, when he chops off his fingers.
Very,
and
very
the look
creepy.
He gives Tina.
And his voice, yeah.
Yeah, he's very good at playing with his food.
Apart from A Nightmare on Elm Street, back in the day, I also remember him from a science fiction series called V, where he played a friendly alien called Willie.
Yeah, that's where he kind of made that's where people knew him from.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons he ended up getting Nightmare on Elm Street. So we're talking about acting here. This is the police. I mean, this is the best scene. You've got the mother, who's a worse actress than the daughter.
Bonnie Blakely or something?
Ronnie Blakely.
Yes.
Oh, my God. And these two. And she's like, oh, my God, Heather, don't you think murder is serious? And then
Nancy, not Heather.
And then Nancy's like, Mom, of course I'm taking it seriously. And there you got poor John Saxon, who's a fucking great actor.
Yeah.
Who's sitting there going, fuck me.
But, it's 80s
It's
slasher.
so bad.
But it is. I'm agreeing with you. But stuff like that, I can sort of. It won't
I
ruin
do
the film
too,
for me.
guys. Listen, I agree with you. I'm just ripping on it.
Yeah.
I'm having a good laugh. It doesn't destroy the film. It's a wonderful film. We all like Nightmare on Elm Street. But come on,
No,
it's horrible.
I'm agreeing with you.
Mom, I'm too taken seriously.
There's another scene which isn't too far away. The scene with the claw in the bath, and the
I
mom's
got that in
like
my
saying
notes.
to her, "I brought you some hot milk," and she's going, "Hot milk."
It's so bad. And then
It's
and
soap opera, like sort of sort of dialogue-y scenes,
I noticed this while watching with the podcast eyes. There's a scene where, as you do, as your best friend's been murdered, you go to school the next day.
Oh, naturally, of course, yeah.
When she's
Then
walking,
you fall asleep. I love this scene, by the way.
she's walking to the school.
Yeah.
It's the Halloween theme.
Well, there's a lot of
It's
similarities
all-
to the way it's shot as
It's
well.
a lot. It's. You can hear the Laurie Strode theme. It's called,
and it's
you can
very much
hear
up-
it.
Yeah.
Charles Bernstein's very good at nodding
Yeah.
to other composers in that field, in that genre.
Well, the whole scene is very Halloween.
Yeah, it's even the school, even the teacher teaching
Yes.
is very reminiscent of the original Halloween.
This
And
scene
of course,
really scared me as a kid. Where she falls asleep in school and you see Tina in the body bag.
yeah, that's a creepy scene. It's one of the. It's probably next to Tina's death. Anything that Tina's in seems to be the best part of the film.
Yeah, definitely. There's a later scene where Nancy's dreaming and Tina appears and again in the body bag. And there's all like worms and sort of goo and all coming out from the bottom of her. Really effective.
You see the teacher's Lynn Shay,
Yes.
Robert Shay's sister, and it's funny because she was always this little character actress, and then once there's something about Mary hit,
Yeah.
she became this.
She's been in like the Insidious films as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. She had a massive rebirth, and now all of a sudden she's this horror scream queen. I'm like, good on her. And
Yeah, fair
like
play.
when she was in her 60s when this all started. 'Cause she's in the 80s, I think now.
Right?
Good on her.
Alright,
That's really
fair
cool.
play. Yeah.
So, when I love when Nancy's going to school, and then Rod shows up, and the dad arrests Rod,
Yeah.
and the daughter's like, "You fucking used me as bait,"
Yeah.
and the dad's like, "Yeah."
Well, it's a really good scene mainly because of John Saxon, and it's and the guy, somebody is a Hugh Garcia playing Rod. He can act decently enough. I'm not saying he's Sir Laurence Olivier, but he sort of sells it.
No, he. The first part he's kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
The second part though,
He's on the run.
he's on the run and he sells it pretty good.
Yeah.
His name's Jesus Garcia.
Yes.
He changed his name. He had a Hollywood name, Cora or something like that, for this film. But his real name's Jesus Garcia.
You know who he looks like in this, and he always looked like to me, Michael Jackson.
Don't say.
In the 80s,
Oh my!
around the Thriller period.
What are you? What's wrong with you?
What? I'm serious. I think he looks a bit like Michael Jackson during the Thriller period.
He looks nothing like Michael
Just a
Jackson.
little bit. With the curly black hair.
What is you there? You right now, our listening audience is going, "What the fuck is wrong with Trevor?"
He just always reminded me of him for some reason. Just,
What I mean,
With the
I
curly
know,
black
let's move
hair.
on. Let's just move on. Let's just move on. Oh, I just
what? What's wrong with that?
what? Tom Atkins, Tom Skerritt,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson. Yeah, okay.
Michael
Hey, you know
Douglas.
what? Let's just move on. You need so much guidance and help. I mean,
Not by
seriously. Wow, that's fucking. Wow, we gotta wrap this one up pretty quick because I just can't. I'm just wow. Yeah, wow. Okay. So, I do like when she's in the school and she's having the dream and we see Tina with the bag and all
Oh, it's
that
a
crap.
very effective scene.
I like how smart, because she's smarter than Tina, because she's the smart girl.
Yeah.
She's the good girl. So how she knows to wake herself up by scalding herself on the pipe to get her out of the dream.
And also later on with the booby traps and stuff.
Yeah, we'll talk about that stupid fucking scene, and that pretty much ruins the film almost. It's beyond bad. Now, Rod's death, which was
very effective as well.
Very effective. And the sad thing about this scene, you guys should watch this documentary on Nightmare on Elm Street. It's pretty good. They interviewed him, and he says those are real tears. He goes, I broke down while filming the scene because I was on drugs.
Oh dear!
And
I didn't know that.
I was high, and Wes pulled me aside, and he goes, no, I need to finish the scene. And he goes, I was in a real dark place.
Right.
And he says he's been 25 years sober since.
Good on him.
So he's doing great. But he said that scene was all real. He said, obviously his death.
Yeah.
that'd be bad. But yeah, it's stuff like that where when you watch it, you appreciate what the actor, went through. But they also appreciate the fact that he's clean and sober now and
good on
doing
him.
His thing.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's all right. Yeah, the bathtub scene is very popular. But you're right when it comes to the acting in this scene. It's just so bad. I do like the fact where, Mom, I don't want to, hot milk, so childish, blah, blah, blah. and then she gets sucked under, right?
Yeah.
Which is a good scene. I like the scene.
Yep.
That part, and she's trying to get out, and the mother runs back up. What's going on? She's screaming, oh, God, Mom, help, Mom. And she finally breaks in the door. She gets out from the bath. Oh, my God, are you okay? Oh, no, I was just getting out of the tub.
No, but to be fair, she is in denial. She doesn't really know what's going on, because, it's not known for your dreams to be real and, a child murderer to be in them, an actual one. I also like the way to set it up that they're all having the same dreams. So she's sort of working it out.
I like that, too. And I like the fact she knows that she's got to wake herself up. That's how she's been, especially with Tina's death. She knows something's going on here.
Yeah.
That it could be a lot worse than, scalding herself. But it just seems like, no, she's not confused. She just has to let her mom that she's okay. She doesn't want her to know but she's screaming bloody murder. And then she's like, oh, no, I'll just get out of the bath.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you get out of a bath? I mean, fucking hell.
And the mother, I think the mother says something to her, there's a lot of reports of people falling asleep in the bath and dying, drowning, and she's all, I brought you some hot milk, What? Yeah.
No, I got a question then.
Go ahead.
And so when Glenn shows up in Nancy's room.
Yes.
Which we have, again, Billy and Sidney from Scream.
Yep. Climbing through the window.
Yep. So he comes to the window, and she tells him, "Don't fall asleep."
But he does.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
Now, was this supposed to be kind of a joke? I think it was. So when she's in the dream, right?
Yes.
She turns in her dream and goes, "Hey, Glenn, are you still awake?" And he pops up behind a tree. Yep.
No, I think what that was is... Sorry, go ahead.
But once he answered, that would mean that he's sleeping because he's in her dream.
No, he was still awake at this point, and that's his voice. But in her dream, she has manifested his voice as him popping behind the tree. Dream logic.
Okay.
But he's still in the bedroom.
In the dream, even though he's still awake. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he fell asleep.
No, he falls asleep after that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No,
that makes more sense.
They're not sure on a dream.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, what?
No,
what the fuck's he doing in here?
As far as I'm aware, anyway, that scene, he's basically still awake in the bedroom, and her voice, in her dream, she's just manifesting his voice.
All right, so we know Glenn, she almost gets it, but she survives, whatever. But she goes to the dream doctor. We'll call him Roger Rabbit, because he's the voice of Roger Rabbit.
I didn't know that.
Charles Fletcher. And, yeah, so when they go to this dream doctor, I love the fact she wakes up, she's got 3 huge scratches of blood and gashes in her arm, and she got gray hair, and she's got a fedora. And the doctor's like, what? But at first I was like, thought this was fucking stupid the first time I saw it. What the fuck? You'd be fucking putting her in a home or something. Or something's going on. But I forgot the mother kind of starts putting the pieces together herself. Mm-hmm. She realizes who this is.
And don't forget, she's also still in her mother's car. So the mother wouldn't have let her get sectioned or whatever. Like the kids in the third one do.
Yeah. Roger Rabbit makes a good point. He makes a comment. I don't know if this is true, but I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's somewhat, researched. He says if you don't dream, you'll mentally lose it.
Yeah,
in the real world.
Yeah, apparently everybody does dream, but some people don't remember their dreams. I've always been a very vivid dreamer. I went through a phase where I was really fascinated and used to really research my own dreams and stuff, all that sort of thing. But yes, my dreams would be quite vivid. But some people claim that they don't dream. Well, that's actually not true. They do dream. They just can't remember them.
They just can't remember it because you have to or something.
Yes,
keeps the brain functioning.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right. So the mother is fighting and she's getting drunk again. Yeah. Right? So now we're back to the bad acting.
It does make sense, though, that the mother being an alcoholic, though, because apparently there was a scene, it was either cut, it was edited out, or it was originally in the script, it was never filmed, where it's revealed that, yes, they burnt Freddy Krueger alive, in his boiler house, but also that didn't quite kill him. So the mother actually gave him a coup de grace and finished him off with a bullet to the head. So everything that's went on, it does make sense. The mother hitting a drink.
No, I don't mind that. I just think she's bad at being a drunk. But they're arguing, and I love it where Nancy goes, "I have his hat, and his name is in his hat, Mom. It's Fred Krueger." Let me ask you this. So you're trying to tell me no child rapist killer puts his name on this clothing?
Yeah, exactly. What do you like a child in primary school puts their name on like their coat or whatever? Not like adults who it's just who puts their name on a hat or any clothes.
You see Freddy going, I gotta put my name in my hat.
Just in case he loses it and then I get stolen by Jason.
Gets arrested by the police. That's my green and red sweater. My name's on it.
My name's on the collar.
Fred Krueger.
Yeah, that is it. But I thought that here. What? But why has he got his name on his hat?
That should have been easily explained. They could have easily had the mother go, I want to talk to you about where you got that hat. And she could have told her story there. Not, his name's in the hat. What the fuck?
Yeah. I would say as well about the mother-daughter relationship, although it is corny at times and annoying, it's quite realistic. The way mothers and daughters can often get on together,
Well, when mothers and daughters talk like that, it's real. When they do it, it's bad acting. So
and also, there's not usually a supernatural boogeyman called Freddy Krueger in the mix.
And the problem with Blake is she has monotone. She's like, oh, Heather.
Yeah, Nancy, not Heather.
Oh, whatever her fucking name. I don't give a fuck. and she, I was like, fuck off. Just fuck off.
And here's a big thing for me with these older films. What is it? I brought this up before in the podcast. What is it with the parents in these films, like, being old as fuck looking? It's the same in the second one and loads of other films from the 80s. Or is it because that they hire like 30-year-olds to play the teenagers, so they have to like go and actually?
I don't think John Saxon and
apart from John Saxon and
Ronnie Blakely.
No, they look alright. But some of the other, like Johnny Depp's parents in them, they look like fucking pensioners.
Well,
Ronnie and to be fair, John Saxon are look in their late 30s, 40s. But Johnny Depp's mother looks like a granny.
Yeah.
You know?
He's a surprise kid, in their 60s.
With his funky little track bottoms and like waistcoat, like belly top or something that he's wearing later before he gets killed.
So when she gets the phone call, I'm your boyfriend now, and sticks her tongue out.
Yes.
It's a great line. Let her know that I'm about to kill your boyfriend.
Yep.
But it's also, you got to keep in mind, this is a minor he's talking to.
Well, he's a pedophile anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They never scream the word, but we know what he is.
Yes. And he does the tongue thing with Tina as well, I believe, at one point.
I didn't remember.
Could be wrong.
Here's where the film gets a little, oh boy. I'm still enjoying it. But when Jack Sparrow dies
It's
in the
brilliant.
bed,
Again, another really effective death scene.
it's a good scene.
Yeah.
So
Very memorable.
it's a good scene. It's The Shining. It's their version of The Shining.
Yeah. But from Johnny Depp's bed.
Here's where the film, and I know nitpicking's bad. I don't believe in nitpicking, but when it's this bad, yeah, I'm coming after it. I have no choice. All right. So she calls the dad at the boyfriend's house because the dad's over there, investigating the murder.
Yes.
Dad, come get me in 20 minutes. I'm going to grab him out of my dream. It's Freddy Krueger. And the dad's like, okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Don't forget, Dad, 20 minutes. Ready? She hangs up the phone. In that 20 minutes, there's a montage. She's building explosive bulbs,
It's the A-Team?
sledgehammer traps. She's reading a book, I think.
No, she shows the book to Johnny Depp earlier on the bridge.
She does tripwires.
Yep.
Then she sets the alarm for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So how long is 20 minutes in this world?
Well, maybe it's maybe it's dream logic again. I don't know, but it is a bit corny. How she turns into
No, it's
Rambo
bad.
and the A-Team all in one.
No, it has nothing to do with that. I don't mind her setting traps. I don't give a fuck. I'll go with it.
Maybe her dad was always late.
In 20 minutes, she has the alarm clock set for 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, she has built something from Saw.
Because it's the A-Team.
All right, well, we'll change her name to MacGyver. And oh my God. So I do like when she brings them out.
Yes.
And as silly as the booby traps are, they work.
Yeah.
You're having fun with it. You're kind of rooting for him now because of what he did to her friends.
She's beating the shit out of him with these big. It's Home Alone with hammers and all sorts. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what really ends up killing what kills him is to stop leaving him and saying, I'm not afraid of you.
Well, that's actually quite clever because that's earlier on in the film on the bridge, Johnny Depp's character Glenn says about, ancient civilizations, how they defeat their dream demons, the dream monsters, is by turning their back on them and denying that they exist. So this is calling back to that.
Wow, look at you.
No, because I fucking watched it. I've watched it multiple times over the years. I thought that's what we were meant to do.
And with a really horrible ending, Wes Craven hated it. And
I know, and he was against it. It was Robert Shea put it in.
Yeah.
You had to have a final score, but
who says?
Them's the rules. The horror rules.
No, Robert Shea was wrong. Robert Shea was wrong about the really bad oatmeal stairs, and he was wrong about the ending.
I like the oatmeal stairs because it works in the terms of a dream. Whenever.
But you see it. You see the stairs, and you can see where she's going to step.
Yeah, well, I remember it's not.
There's no that. It's
you're
poorly.
Nitpicking, but the concept
it's not
itself is good.
It's not nitpicking. It's poorly executed. There's a difference.
I know, but I like the concept.
So
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's perfectly executed, but I like the concept.
Okay, also, so if I go, I'm going to make a Superman movie. Oh, great, Karen. That's great. I love the concept. And it's me sitting on the couch. You're going, you know what? I give that a pass. I like the concept.
I'd pay good money to see that, Kieran. Trust me. But not for the reasons.
You be like, wow, I like the concept. But I poorly executed it.
No, it's a shit concept.
You're going to give it a pass because it's a good concept.
No, I thought it was possible. I'm not saying it was perfect, but I thought it was quite possible.
It's brilliant.
In the scene.
It was brilliant.
I wouldn't say brilliant, but it worked.
Brilliant.
Is that a Belfast accent?
Yep. Listen, guys, I ripped on this one pretty good. Just having a good time. Nightmare on Elm Street's a solid film. Some of the acting, it's pretty poor. But again, what slasher film isn't really? And it is saved by Johnny Depp, Amanda Weiss, John Saxon, and the other cast members that are in it.
I think they're all quite solid, but especially John Saxon and Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I mean they all bring something, well. and again, Ronnie Blakely and Heather Camp didn't bring their A game. I'm sorry they didn't, but it is what it is. Listen, guys, I joke around with this one and all, but I do like Nightmare on Elm Street. It's a solid film. When I was younger, I was creeped out by it. It doesn't hold up for me. I'm going to be honest. I prefer my Jason, and I prefer my silent killers. You know, I like the guys who stalk and just do their thing. So Jason and Michael will always be my go-to. But even they become a farce or a parody of themselves. But I understand your loyalty. I understand fans' loyalty. So, and I can't say enough about Robert Shea and Wes Craven. So, kudos to their success. See, that was very professional.
Yeah. For a change.
Fuck that. Guys, so what else do I got? Oh, yes. That's right. The new issue of Phantasmagoria is out.
Well, it's not out just yet, but it's coming very soon. By the time this podcast goes out, it should be basically available around the end of February, the start of March.
It's coming out. People, the new issue of Phantasmagoria is coming out. And what's this one about? Trevor, you're going to jump in here. It's your fucking magazine.
Well, I mean, I'm letting you take the lead. But yes, it is a Hellraiser special.
See,
yes.
I wasn't going to say that because I wasn't sure if we're allowed to.
Yes, no, it's a Hellraiser special. And, you know, it's featuring so many of the cast and crew. You know, there's an archival interview with Clive Barker. There's Peter Atkins on board. Stephen Jones, who was a unit publicist. You know, there's the special effects and makeup guys. You know, Jeff Portas. Basically, they're all in there. And we pay tribute to the entire series, but mainly the first 4 films in the series. And yeah, go check it out. It's available throughout the world from Amazon, anywhere in the world, and soon to be in select stores as well.
You mentioned all those very talented people.
Yes,
Trevor. Are you missing somebody on that? I don't understand.
Yes, believe it or not, folks, for all of you fans of Ciaran, he's in there too with a review of the 2022 version of Hellraiser. So check it out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you guys want to, yeah.
Doug Bradley, we've got Doug Bradley, we've got the Cenobites, Clive Barker, the special effects guys, Kim Newman, top artists, and also, more importantly, Ciaran Woods.
Yeah, and that's the name that matters.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll get you actually get closer to the release date. When we release 2 and 3 together of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, we'll have more where it's available and so forth. If you guys want to give us a shout how unprofessional we were at this podcast, please always feel free at Citizen Frame _ podcast and Instagram and of course Facebook. We are retiring. Take care of yourselves, and maybe I'll see you in your dreams. That's kind of creepy, actually. All right, have a good one.